Hi there, the next few clips I'm going to do are going to be using this clay. Now, it's actually a lightweight modelling clay. It's a paper-based clay, so when it dries it is really lightweight, and it means you can do loads with it. So we're going to do about 3 or 4 different techniques with this clay now. So tune in and pick up some new hints and tips. Right, so when you get your clay, you've got a choice. There is more colours, but I just stock the white or the black. Make sure when you open it that you can reseal your packets. Keep it in, a sealed box, and then it'll stay fresh for you. So what we're going to do, I'm going to work with both of them, and then you can see how they both work. Now, this is a black first of all. So I'd seal that up, cover it in cling film, and then put it in an airtight box. So I'm just taking a bit of the clay. Now, it is, when you actually feel it at first, you can feel the moisture coming off on your fingers. It's not a lot of moisture, but don't try and overwork it because obviously you'll dry it out. Now, it's really easy to work with. The first thing that I'm going to do is show you stamping into it. So what we'll do, first of all, is just take a piece of the clay. Again, I'm working on my craft mat, absolutely perfect to work on. I'm getting my rolling pin. I'll be honest, I did have a craft rolling pin, but it's in a safe place. So we're using this big thing. It's the only time I use a rolling pin. Now, we've flattened it out slightly, but this clay, because it's a very lightweight clay, you can really flatten it out. You can get real detail with it. So we're getting it quite nice and flat there, peeling it off. See, now, if it does stick to your rolling pin, you're best using one of the silicone rolling pins, like the plastic rolling pins, because it comes off easier. You can obviously put your Versamark on it, you can put your mica on it, whichever you prefer. So just flatten it out, don't need it too perfect. Do that again just to make sure. There we go. Now what we're going to do is take one of the stamps. Now I've got one of the beautiful swirl pattern stamps. I'm going to do this really basic. I'm not covering it with any ink. Doesn't need any ink because all I'm doing is lightly pressing into the actual stamp. And you'll see when I pull this away that you've got that beautiful pattern going on. Now with the clay, what you can do, just get your craft knife. You can easily cut in. I'm not putting much pressure on because I'll tell you a secret. I've obviously cut through a few of these because I keep forgetting. So don't put much pressure on because you will cut through your craft mat. You don't want to do that. So just slicing through, but can you see hardly any pressure and it just slices through. It's that lightweight. Now to really make that stand out, we're going to take some of my mica powder, and it just shows how quick and easy you can build up different looks with this clay, because any powders will stick to it because it's quite wet. It's got quite a sticky surface, so your powders, your glitters will stick to it. You can also put your gems, you can embed them into it, and can you see how the mica clings to that beautiful surface, and it really makes the actual detail pop out. Now I do have, and I've gone and forgot it, but I do have one of those blades, the craft blades that you can run underneath. If you do that you can slice it off, but if I'm nice and gentle I should be able to lift this off my craft mat. Now you can see there you've got the pattern. Because it is clay, you can still play with it. So if you want to shape it, if you want to make beads out of it, if you just want to leave it to actually dry, then it will make a beautiful piece for your toppers. Now that's one, for a topper for a card. So that's one way of using it with your stamps. I'm going to use a white one as well, just to show you the difference in the two colours. You can actually colour both of them. Now that was colouring it with mica. With this one, what we'll do, obviously when you're at home, be more organised than me. Can you believe it? Doing videos and I'm still unorganised. Have your baby wipes next to it, because obviously it'll pick it'll pick loads of colour up. So I'm using a different bit of the rolling pin, so it'll pick up anything on your hands. So make sure your hands are clean, because it will pick up any dirt or any ink or fibres on your hands. Now this time I'm going to take one of the Hero Art stamp, and this is, I like this tree because there's so much detail in there. We're going to use that tree. So take the stamp first of all, and what we're going to do, I don't want the full image. I only want to pick out some of that detail. So I'm going to put the stamp onto my block. I'm only working on a bit of clay. It's completely up to you how much you actually work. So just stamping in. Again, you don't need too much pressure. If I lift off, you can see where it's taken. Now, if you don't like it, I'm not keen on that because it's missed off quite a bit. If you don't like it, simply squidge it back in again and start again. So it's completely up to you. You know, you can just keep going and keep going until you're happy with the results. So again, just rolling that out. Make sure you've got a nice surface so you can actually work, which you can tell I haven't because I've got stuff everywhere. And again, just peel that off. And I am better coating my rolling pin so I don't lose a lot of clay. And again, just take my rubber stamp and stamp into it. And just putting pressure on. You can see through the stamp because it's a clear stamp. You can see where it's sinking actually into the clay, gently lifting that off. If you ever find your clay sticks to the stamp, then simply cover your stamp with your Versamark, something like that, so you're actually not putting ink on the stamp. And I love that detail. I love how it's embedded in the centre and obviously lighter at the edges. If your clay's uneven, because you can tell this bit's thicker clay, and that's why it's got more pressure in. If it's uneven, then you can either keep it like that, you can roll it back out again, completely up to you. But it means you can change the look of the clay. But then, we've got our white clay, we don't need to wait for it to dry before we actually add colour onto it. So this is just gently, you take your distress ink, any ink you can again practice and play with your inks, but look at this, how it's just colour tinting it. So I can move it round and just gently brushing in from the sides. And I'm not putting any pressure, just gentle brushing in. It'll allow you to colour tint that. And you can age the clay, you can rip the clay. So if you love those torn edges, you can do that with the clay as well. So just pulling that in, I'll change my colours. So I've used there the rusty hinge, so it's got that lovely colour, that lovely sort of orange tone to it. And then I've got frayed burlap. I don't know what I've been doing with my frayed burlap, but that's kind of funny colour. But that frayed burlap, I'm just going in the centre there. And I love it how it just picks up all the detail. Can you see all the detail of the stamp really popping out there? And imagine this, when it's dried, imagine this as a jewellery piece, or you can obviously put it on the top of your cards. If you're doing any altered art projects, this is brilliant because you can get it to move. And there you go. So that's with the white clay. And can you see the detail of that actual piece? Just let it dry, keep turning it over. And then if you turn it over, because the moisture, if I show you a finished piece, when it dries, see this is one I didn't turn over, and can you see how you get the arc? So it dries with that movement and that shape. If you want it to be a flatter piece, when it dries, just keep turning it and it will flatten out a little bit. Alternatively, obviously you can, if you put it down, if you maybe attach it to your project with brads, something like that, and it'll dry flat. Now that's our first technique, that is stamping into your clay to get completely different looks every single time. So that's the first technique with our air dry clay.